We are live. Cameras indeed look very much good. So welcome back everyone for the last stream of the day. Here we are, EUIdeas, the research event of the European University Institute is now officially over, and we are very glad to be here with all of you. Although the cloister is a bit more empty than it was before, it used to be this afternoon. Obviously we're competing against drinks, so you can imagine that our allure is perhaps not as big as what's happening down there in the other side of the cloister. But we're very happy to be all together here for one final round of questions, and especially to take stock of the closing panel discussions. And I'm very happy to have here two persons who actually participated in that live discussion. A third one will be joining in just a second. And Leopoldo, my co-host for the morning show, you were also in that panel. So perhaps why don't you start by framing what happened in that panel, and then we'll hear from our guest of today a bit more about the discussions that take place there.
Thank you very much, Jan. I think I've been paneling for the whole day, more or less. But it was truly a very engaging session. I think we did a good job in also involving the people that were in the audience. We planned it a lot. We discussed a lot how to get a good recap of what happened today, and also to bring our own ideas. It was, I think, a spot where people spoke very freely about the things that we need to be doing at the EUI, and I think that we have a vibrant community that is thinking strongly about these topics. So I don't know, what are your takeaways, Hile, Khushi? Maybe you can introduce yourselves as well, because I think people already know me. I'm Leopoldo Pérez Obregón, Research Associate at the Florence School of Banking and Finance, and co-host today of Radio Cavolo with Jan.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Hilly. I'm a first-year PhD researcher, but I did the SCG Master here at the EUI, or SCG, before. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it was actually really great how people started to become very real, in a way, with their answers. I wish we have had more time. And I think one takeaway for me is that, there's, I think, still not in all parts, I think from the answers it became clear that not everyone is aware about how difficult it is actually to use our skills as academics after we finish like a PhD, because it sounded a bit like, oh, we have everything available, like we're this resourceful place, and we are at the EUI, but still the reality is that a lot of early career researchers, after they finish a PhD, they have to re-educate themselves because there's not enough jobs. And I think that didn't become clear from all of the answers from the group. And but I was grateful for the fact that
the theme was
the
theme of the panel, because we didn't clarify that.
But the theme of the panel was what is needed for the EUI to shape Europe and the world in 2076. Sorry, I didn't say that. Yeah, so I think I was really happy that there were researchers in the room, also non-researchers, but I think it's also clear that not everyone in the room is aware of the current situation and the precarious situation of researchers.
Your takeaway, Khushi?
No, I completely agree with what Hila said. I think what you saw more was, of course, like there was a lot of engagement, which is always very rewarding, because at the end of the day, it was a celebration, and the whole idea of this panel was also to, it was embedded in a sense of hope, right, that we will be there in 2076. So it's like writing your own future in that way. But at the same time, you also saw a generational divide, right, where the researchers were talking more about precarity. They were talking more about being more incorporating different forms of academic. I don't want to say outputs, because then that adds a market value to it, but different forms of academic labor, or interactions. So you could see that divide in that sense in the room. And for me, that was very interesting.
And Jan, you witnessed this. What is your take? What was your impression seeing from the outside?
So full disclosure, I unfortunately was not able to follow your discussion. So instead of sharing my thoughts, I can share perhaps some comments on what I heard from you. But importantly, I want to share with you a question, because we're talking about how the future will look like. But my question to all of you is, did you discuss also what we can do to actually make that future happen? Or is it like writing a wish list, and there was an exercise in which you actually had to write some wishes for 2076. Is there a plan? Is there, not only a concrete vision, but also how to make that concrete? So starting by tomorrow, although it's very much ambitious, especially considering that it's a weekend, what will happen next in order to make sure that what you wish for in 2076 actually happens? Is this something that is close to your heart? Is this the type of reflections that you make, especially being academic, so looking also at the very longer term? Or is it something that you found interesting to discuss, but so far it's a different level of...
I think that clearly what happened in the panel was that we acknowledge that there's a problem with the structure of incentives in the academic career. And when these things come up, always in discussions in our university, there's always this thing, no, but research needs to be at the front end, publishing, and that's the only thing. And of course it's important, and we were trying to just bring a different perspective in which, as an organization, we need to also value a different set of skills. And I also want to use the word output, but it's not.
No, I don't think it's output in that way. But I think the bigger question that for me, because we were talking about Europe, and I'm not from Europe, right? Like, I'm here on a visa. The minute it gets over, I will be asked to leave, right? So I think the bigger takeaway for me was our problems are very similar everywhere, and if the problems in my part of the world are not problems in this part of the world, it's only until time. That'll happen, right? That'll happen with academic freedom, that'll happen with press freedom, so it will happen in time. So I think in that way, the opening that we have is also, because you asked about what we can do tomorrow onwards, right? Is actually to look at not just restructuring our own institute, so that, okay, we establish equality over here, and then we are like, okay, we've established equality, but we will go and do area studies in some corner of the global south and produce knowledge on that. So do we want to repeat that template, which hasn't worked, which has brought us over here? Or do we really want to dismantle what knowledge is and who gets taken seriously? Like, there's a lot of knowledge production is about who gets taken seriously. So I think for us, the larger, like for me, and I think all of us, the takeaway was also this, that we were just talking about EUI in particular, but we were also talking about the next generation of academics and our own survival as academics and the kind of world we want to inhabit beyond our own identities.
And very concretely, because your question was also about what will we do after this discussion. So we are thinking about having some of a manifesto created after this panel. We discussed this with the president, and she was very enthusiastic and pushing this idea. And honestly, I would even dedicate some time of myself to have a similar format that is not only researchers but brings other people together to have exactly the same question, just longer, because I really think we currently have a presidency that allows us to have that kind of freedom to just say, hey, we want to organize this, and I'm pretty sure someone will listen to it. How we implement the change is a different question, but at least that we have more concrete ways to go forward, because I think there is a lot of potential. Like, I think what we had today, it showed people have an opinion, they have good opinions, there's divergence also in the room, which I was really happy about, and that we can do something with these concrete ideas. And when you push people to be concrete, there is something coming out of it. So I hope we will take this somewhere. I hope it doesn't just stay in that room, but how we do it, we still need to discuss.
I think that if there's something I would like to take away, is also the vibrancy of our community, which is very much there. We have space to think, we have space to be ourselves, and as it was shown in the room, we also have space to be critical and be listened to. I think that it has proven that many people raise very important critical points, and yeah, I think there's space for change and for thinking slowly and doing something about this.
I think that it's a right moment to discuss those things, because sometimes, we take things for granted, and the fact that there is no space in academia for confrontation is probably something that, it's an idea that many people have, but it's not really widely addressed, it's not really widely discussed. And I think that it's a great thing that the EUI, which is now turning 50, took a moment to step back, wait a second, reflect about our own nature, who we are, what we should be doing. And now I would like to make this resonate also with the message that we got yesterday during this 50-year anniversary celebration, which we also mentioned in the first broadcast of this morning. Roberta Metsola said, you are a university, you should not only think about what are the big answers to the questions that society should have, but you should rather also frame those questions in a way that they make sense for the society. So I think that the fact that we are taking this stance, at least having a long-term vision, without obviously thinking about all the medium-term or short-term activities, because life changes and there's a lot of things happening in the way, it's already a luxury and it's already something that is potentially having very good results. So I'm very happy to hear from you that the president is open to having some concrete actions to continue this working group and to continue this conversation even further. And priorities change. 15 years is a long shot, so we'll see where this brings us. Well, no, yeah. If you look at the historical perspective, then I totally see your point. So, Leopoldo, any final conclusions or takeaways that you got from the day or from the panel, or something that really struck you in those 2 days of celebrations / academic discussions /
we have a fantastic
reflection?
place. We need to capitalize on it, and we need to celebrate that we are here to have a space for thinking and to doing more stuff. So that's my final message.
And to open it up.
And to open it up more, most definitely. Yeah, on that, I mean, we are living in times where the societies are closing, and we need to make space for new ideas to enter and for new ideas to change us as well, as much as we try to change the world, right?
Honestly, I also think very practically, final thing and takeaway from this whole exercise that we did. I think these kind of discussions, we need to take time for them, but we also need to incentivize them. We need to sit people down. In our case, we got a small job contract to think about this panel and this closing session, and only when you are really sat down and you're okay, now think about this, you actually make progress in your brain. And I think we need to, if we are now at this stage where we're okay, what is the role of university? What do we want to do with the EUI? There needs to be also some, said this also on the panel, you need to incentivize and put value and maybe also economic remuneration to taking the time as a researcher to think about the future of the EUI. It cannot just happen on the side, and most likely it won't happen on the side. So takeaway for me is more of these formats, and there need to be some incentive for people to actually get involved and co-shape this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, I'm a firm believer that universities have, their roots go deeper than what we think them to be. So every time in the moment of crisis, we think we will not survive, or academia will not survive. We've survived for many years. So I think universities do survive. And for me, the takeaway was, as Hillena said, that this is not a conversation we have only in a moment of crisis or in a moment of celebration. This has to be. Yeah. This has to be the muscle memory that we have to develop. Exactly. That we have, the way we have presentations or prospectus review or whatever. We need to have this reflexivity practice of what we are, not just what we are building, but what we are becoming. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was the big takeaway. And if we have the space for it, then what better than that? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a fantastic learning from both of you. And you mentioned openness. Indeed, the EUI is trying also to be closer to the local community here in Florence through an art exhibition, which has now opened in town, which is called exactly Open. So hopefully this will be a first, one of the many steps.
It's great. I went there last night. It's fantastic.
Did you like it?
Yeah,
very cool.
Everyone is asking about the horses.
Yeah,
Did you like the horses?
Are crazy.
I'm yet to see that. Yeah.
I mean, it's something that you will not expect, to be honest,
It's
to have a horse there in a
It's
disturbing, really cool.
But isn't that what art should be, right? Provocative and make you think. But for all viewers and listeners, there is this beautiful art exhibition in Florence. It's called Open. Please go see it there and let us know in the comments what you think about the horses. We won't spoil what those horses thing are about, but it's interesting. Let's put it this way.
I'm just seeing people walk around with gelato.
Yeah, we should
Okay.
go.
We're in very tight
Gelato.
competition, so indeed, let's close it off here. But thank you very much to both of you for having been here.
Of course.
Thank you,
you so
Leopoldo,
much
for
for
being
having
here.
Thank you, Jan. Has been a pleasure.
And thank you for all
speaking
your
with you.
work, for
setting it up.
He's setting it up and
Indeed.
like just having us here.
And thank you to Gianluca. Probably he can't hear us, but he's the mastermind behind all this technical equipment you see here.
Grande Gianluca.
So,
Oh my
grande
God,
Gianluca,
the
grazie
comms
mille.
team has been amazing.
Yeah, everyone involved in this,
Okay,
this
Jan,
event was really, really
we're gonna
cool.
chase for the gelato.
Ciao.
Indeed.
We're gonna have
Bye-bye.
gelato.
Goodbye.
Ciao.
We'll go for gelato. Have a nice day. Bye.
We're being recorded on screen? I don't pay attention.